Welcome to the presentation of our paper. We three brothers have always known everything of each other, a cross-cultural study of sharing digital devices and online accounts. I'm Mahdi from Utah State University. We collaborated with Jadavpur University and University of Dhaka in this work. Background. Many technologies have been developed based on the assumption that they will be used by a single person. This single-user assumption is also reflected in the authentication solutions, where entering a password gives access to all of the contents in a digital device or an online account. However, this one-to-one mapping between a technology and a user does not consider the security vulnerabilities and privacy risks for people when they share their devices or accounts with others. Here, by sharing, we refer to any situation in which multiple users use a single device or account either synchronously or asynchronously. In this work, digital device refers to the computer and mobile phone. For online accounts, we focused on the sharing of financial and identity accounts like email, social networking accounts, considering the sensitivity of user information stored in these accounts. The prior works examined the sharing of digital devices in a household setting. A recent study also looked into the sharing of an online account with the members in a household, like an entertainment account to watch movies. Several studies examined the needs of sharing devices and accounts with caregivers, like parents or spouse, by the people with visual impairments or certain disabilities. We extend the findings from existing literature where we address three research questions. First, what are the context and reasons for sharing digital device and online accounts when the sharees include not only the members in a household but also others in a wide range of personal, social, and professional settings? Then, what are the risk perceptions and concerns of users as they share their devices and accounts? What are the access control strategies of users in the process of sharing their digital devices and online accounts? To address these research questions, we conducted a semi-structured interview with 59 participants. 16 of them are women and 43 are men. Almost all of our participants were in the age range of 18 to 55, where 4 participants were above 55 years old. A large body of prior works examined privacy issues in the Western context, including the USA. However, the recent literature, including the ones conducted in Bangladesh, suggests that privacy is contextual, where we should focus more on digital technology users and privacy issues in developing countries, so that we can have a situated understanding to explore the design and privacy policies. To this end, we included both the USA and Bangladesh in our study. We also included Turkey, which is one of the underrepresented countries in privacy literature. We recruited participants through posting flyers on public places, social media posts, email listserv, and snowball sampling. We interviewed our participants over telephone, via Skype, or in person. We conducted interviews in the country's official language. Interviews were audio recorded, where each session took between 25 and 35 minutes on average. We transcribed the audio recordings. For the interviews with the participants from Bangladesh and Turkey, the researchers, who are the native speakers of Bengali and Turkish language, translated the transcriptions into English. Then, we performed thematic analysis on our transcriptions. Among our participants, 22 of them live in the USA, 8 participants live in Turkey, and 29 participants live in Bangladesh. We provided their detailed demographic information in the paper. Findings. We will first present our findings on the context and reasons of sharing, followed by our participants' risk perceptions and concerns and access control strategies. On the context and reasons of sharing, we start with geographic relocation. The immigrants experiencing cultural shifts adjust in complex ways to their new society. We found that our immigrant participants in the USA collaborate with friends and family members living in their native country to regain or maintain access to their online accounts, along with remotely managing financial transactions. For example, one of our participants forgot the password of her email account after moving to the USA and did not have a recovery email but a recovery mobile phone number that she used to use in her native country. Eventually, she recovered her access to that email account through creating a new password in collaboration with a friend in her native country, whom she had to mail her old mobile SIM card. A few of our participants who are from the countries in Asia and currently live in the USA shared their login credentials for a banking account with their spouse or parents living in their native country so that their family members in home country can address any urgent financial needs or transaction by skipping the latency to reach out to our participants. As it comes to collaboratively managing financial activities within a family, the sharing of a financial account depends upon family structure and dynamics. For example, participants living in Bangladesh and Turkey are comfortable with sharing their financial accounts with multiple members in their extended family, which is less common in the nuclear family setting of our participants living in the USA. A few participants mentioned having a contingency plan in case of an emergency situation where they might not be able to access their bank accounts. So, they shared their login credentials with their family members, especially the spouse, so as to ensure accessibility to their financial accounts. We found instances of sharing devices and online accounts as a way of building trust with romantic partners, to express affection to friends, as well as to maintain transparency in a conjugal life. A few participants from Bangladesh mentioned that they are habituated to and are comfortable with sharing their personal belongings and information with a close circle. This close circle comprises siblings, cousins, or friends with whom they have grown up. Now, as the participants have stepped into using online accounts, it comes out as natural and expected to them that their login credentials would be shared within their close circle. Several participants from Turkey and Bangladesh have stated that a digital device purchased by any of their family members is considered as a common property of the inhabitants at their home. Our participant BP4, who lives with her extended family in Bangladesh, purchased a laptop. She explained the sharing of her laptop with the family members at her home, as we see in her comment on the slide. When shared, the possession of a digital device might not be constrained by a physical boundary. Like our participant BP27 gave an example. When my brother goes to coaching class, he needs a mobile phone, so he borrows mine. While such sharing is culturally expected in Bangladesh and Turkey, participants also referred to economic constraints in several instances as to why they could not afford a separate device for individual family members. In recent years, the use of online social networks has experienced a sharp rise in many developing countries, including Bangladesh. Some of our relatively older or less educated participants from Bangladesh use the social networking site in a collaborative manner, where they build a small group with trusted peers to collaboratively use a single social networking account. The members in such a group help each other to address technical issues, learn and use new features and settings, recall password if forgotten, and maintain an online presence when one's internet data budget is exhausted. Among the participants from Bangladesh, several of them are the owner of or employees at digital service centers that offer a variety of services to their customers, which include filling an online application for job visa or academic admission, paying fees online, printing, photocopying, and sending emails. Our participant BP23, who is the owner of a digital service center in Bangladesh, has explained how they manage paying online fees for their customers that we see in his comment on the slide. The computer with administrative privilege is shared with the customers for use in this digital service center, where our participant explained the scenario in this way. Sometimes the customer needs to edit their document before printing. Also, when the work pressure is low, we give them access to browse the internet. Here, internet browsing is not one of their core services, rather, offered to the customers as an informal service if there is a scope. Several participants from Bangladesh who are relatively older or less educated reported taking help from others with creating and managing their online accounts. In this process, a caregiver either created the password for them or participants shared their authentication secrets with the caregiver. For instance, when our participant BP27 first came to know about the online social network, he was not quite sure about how to create an account. So, he reached out to one of his friends who helped him with registering for Facebook and created a password for him that he is still using. We will now look into our findings on the risk perceptions and concerns of our participants. A few participants reported concern about multiple users using the same computer in their workplace, where a shared computer could be infected with malware if one of the users is not careful. Like our participant UP17 reported her experience of losing data and files from a shared computer. Our participants audit about unpredictable human traits, which could be influenced by a change in relationship between peers over time, where we found that the personal contents taken into possession from shared devices were used to blackmail our participants' family members. At a digital service center in Bangladesh, people are not careful enough in protecting their information when they share their personal device with a shopkeeper to avail the repair service. In this context, one of the participants who works in a digital service center reported an incident of unintentional privacy breach as we see in his comment on the slide. Another participant, BP28, told us about an unintentional privacy leakage of his family members from a shared computer at his home. Several participants are concerned that the entities with whom they share their devices might exploit them for a wrong or unethical purpose. A few of them also reflected on their experiences from the past, where the participant BP14 shared an incident that did put her family in an embarrassing situation. Our participants' comfort with sharing a device or account is often rooted in the accountability of sharees, whom they know in person and could trust with protecting their privacy. Here, secondary sharing is a matter of concern to several participants where the current sharees of their online account could share the login credentials of that account with other entities without informing them. For example, one of our participants told about a friend of hers with whom she had shared the login credentials for her university account to let her access the university's Wi Fi network. Later, she found that her friend had shared her password with more people, allowing them access to her university's Wi Fi network. We found several instances that are not limited within the boundary of personal trust and privacy violation, but also raised a question of legality and socially accepted behavior. In Bangladesh, a national ID card is required to purchase a mobile SIM card. One of our participants, who is the owner of a digital service center in Bangladesh, keeps a scanned copy of his national ID card on his computer at the workplace. The password of this computer is shared with his employees. He explained to us how an employee at his digital service center had misused this access privilege by taking a copy of his national ID card from the shared computer to purchase a mobile SIM card. Access control strategies. Most of our participants do not take any steps to protect their privacy while sharing a device or account, where the reasons reported by our participants confirm several findings from existing literature to hold true in the context of sharing devices and accounts both within and outside of Western context, including lack of knowledge, optimism bias, and procrastination until harms occur. We also found that participants from Bangladesh and Turkey put blind trust on the technology to protect user information. They perceive that technology has advanced to a point that users no longer need to worry about security or privacy issues. Our study unpacked the ad hoc based strategies adopted by users for privacy protection while sharing a device or account, where we found that some of these approaches could pose privacy risks for the sharees. For instance, a few participants have reported that when they share their mobile phone with an unknown person, they stand beside that person to observe his activities on the phone to ensure that he does not access any of their personal documents. Future work. Our findings should not be generalized to the entire population in the world, where more studies are required, including a large scale online survey with the participants from different countries and societies. Our findings on collaborative use of online accounts add new dimensions to the discussion on digital inclusion in a developing country, where we emphasize on future research to gain further insights into the corresponding privacy and social implications. Our participants reported concerns and told us about incidents reflecting unexpected outcomes of secondary sharing. We believe that future studies should focus more on this issue. Also, it would be an interesting avenue for future research to look into the privacy negotiation from the perspective of sharees, where we found that the sharer of a device sometimes use surveillance techniques like standing beside a sharee to observe their activities on the shared device. Thank you for listening to our presentation.